Hi guys, and welcome to Steelers Fan TV, which is the first episode of the new year of the Vidcast. I've been looking forward to this. I haven't done one for a while, and I'm hoping that you enjoy it. The last one I did was actually labelled "We Are Not Good Enough," and now I look back on that video and I think, well, we just needed to give this time. I mean, I mentioned about Brendan Connolly being not good enough, and now he's just ended a 21-point streak, something like that. And that is sort of what we expected of the Steelers this season at the start. So today we're talking about a couple of topics, the first being officiating. So the reason that this is first is because it actually got mentioned to me on Twitter that I should do something about this, sort of the standard of officiating, what could be done to improve it, and also the lack of female officials in the game. So we'll start with how we can improve the officiating. I mean, it is quite a tough topic. Because to improve the officiating, you've got to get better officials. Now, how these officials could improve is by just improving themselves. Like, I'm not being funny, but they look so far behind the pace. There's literally 4 of them. There's 2 referees, yet the referee who is on the near side to the play is missing penalties, but the referee that stood 60 yards in that direction has his arm up in the air. That, for me, looks sloppy. And I don't know if people agree with me about that, but it looks crap, doesn't it? If the referee at the near side has missed the call that the guy 60 yards away is calling, you've got to think, what is this guy doing something wrong? Has he genuinely missed something, or can that guy just see it, or has that guy got it wrong and this guy hasn't lied? It's a weird topic. I mean, the 2 officials on the ice have to improve, because at the minute we get to games and it actually looks like the players aren't getting protected by the officials. The officials don't really know what they're doing, sort of thing. And it's agitating to watch. I mean, I get so frustrated as a fan watching the Steelers. I mean, I'll give a prime example, and then we'll move on to how they can improve. So, I think it was against Cardiff Devils the other week. I can't remember the name of the referee, but he had an absolute shocker. And it was awful, because he tried to call everything against us because we did something wrong. And after we did something wrong, it might have been mouthed off at him or something like that. It looked like he had his arm up every other second. Now, it wasn't right. And watching the game, it felt like we were getting bullied by the officials. And I mean, I went with my girlfriend to the game, and my girlfriend doesn't really know much about the rules and stuff like that. And she was saying, like, well, how on earth is this right? We're getting called for everything. The Devils aren't. They're not getting called for the things that they're doing wrong. And you could see it clearly. And I think even the commentary team picked up on it. The fact that nothing was getting called against the Devils, but the exact same things were getting called against us. So anyway, we'll move on. How the officials could improve? Well, first of all, I think they need just basic training. And by basic training, I mean training. Obviously, they've done their course, but most of them look like they've done their course yesterday, or the day before, and it's not good enough. And the thing is, to improve the officiating, it'd do so much for the league. It would literally, I think it'd attract players. I mean, Nikolai Lenchigov had an interview the other week, I think it was the other week, and he said he actually boos the officials at the start because they're that bad. He says it's almost laughable week in, week out, sort of what they're calling. And I do get the impression that that is the case, because we see players getting frustrated week in, week out with the officials. But when will there be an end to it? You know, officials have got one job to do, and that's control the game. They need to dictate the game on how it goes. Not in that way, but they need to dictate a steady game. They can't be missing calls because the game gets out of control. Hence it leads up to players taking it into their own hands, and it just looks really sloppy. So what they need to do, for one, is cut out the sloppiness. 2, get some more training. 3, probably get more officials involved. I mean, we've got young linesmen coming through, and they're a lot better than the older ones. I mean, there's quite a few referees now that I think you should have stayed a linesman for a good few years. Because watching your ref is much different to watching you out on the line, basically. Now, no one seemed to like Jan Schmeichel, and I'm not sure why, because Schmeichel was probably one of the best referees going in this league, and I know people like to slate him a lot, but watching him, he could control the game much better than Tom Darnell could. Now, Tom Darnell, I can see why he's retired. Because I just think he's had enough. I mean, he's been at it about 23 years, something like that, and for the last year or so, he seems to have been off the pace. And I think it's overdue a little bit, because I think he's grown up with the, let's say, pace of the English game, British game. The pace used to be a lot slower. When I used to start watching hockey, it was so slow, it was unbelievable. I was watching the likes of Jeff Legui, Jason Hewitt in the 2015-16 season, maybe. And that pace compared to now is ridiculous. And yeah, I just think they've grown up with that sort of pace. Same as liners, except Danny Brailsford. Danny Brailsford's excellent, but the pace of the game has just drastically improved. The referees haven't kept up with that same pace, and they're not used to the standard of players coming in now. So that's how I think they could improve. I think they could improve on their pace, definitely, and their understanding of the game. Because it's a different game nowadays. It's a less physical game. It's a quicker, passing, more freely moving game. And I think they've just got to get used to that, really. I don't think they have. They've had a few seasons to get used to it now. But this season is definitely the highest paced game that I've seen in Britain for a long time. So, yeah. Anyway, next point about the officials was going to be about sort of women and how there's not enough women involved. So, I don't think there's that many female officials, I won't lie. I don't know really how many there is. I see them sort of dotted around. I've one referee one of the uni games I was playing in the other week, and I think if there was to be a rise of female officials, maybe that would sort of spur the men on as well to get better and improve. As much as Noah likes to say it, but there's always going to be a bit of competition between men and women. Now, if women got into the EIHL, I think it's what's her name? Anderson. Anderson did. I thought she was Liv Anderson, wasn't it? I thought she was a good linesman. Assistant referee. And I thought she was really good. And if there were more female officials, I would like to see it, because it'd always be a breath of fresh air. I mean, you've seen it in football with the linesman. Is it Massey Ellis or something like that? I'm not really that good with names. Sean Massey Ellis. She's a really good linesman. She's top of the Premier League at the minute. But yeah, I think we could get more female officials into the game. And if we could, again, as I said, I think it'd spur the men on to do better. I don't know if you agree with me on that. I don't want that to sound off, but I don't know, I have a bit of a thought process behind that. I think it would be a good idea to get more female officials involved. If you're a female watching this, go and do a course. I was going to do a course this month, but no, I spent too much time slating the officials to be allowed into the IHA. So as I was saying, female officials, I'd say, I hope there's an increase. At the minute, I don't think there will be, though. Especially with how slated the referees are getting at the minute. I think the IHL will be reluctant to push people through. Honestly. I really do. I don't know why that is, but there's sort of been a decline in the amount of officials being pushed through to the IHL, which is what it seems anyway. But yeah, anyway, I've spent about 9 minutes talking about officials. So I'll spend the next sort of 5 minutes so talking about the Steelers. What a team we have here in Sheffield. I mean, that was a post on the Inferno that didn't end well, but you know what a team we have here in Cardiff. Then he went on to say they beat the New Jersey Devils and got, oh god, yeah. But yeah, the team in Sheffield that we have this season is something that I've been waiting for a long, long time. Now, we've got 2 seasons trophyless, one under Paul Thompson, other under Paul Thompson, Mark Matterson, and Tom Barrasso. I mean, Tom Barrasso, we don't... He did a decent job with what he had, but in the long term, we could not have survived with Tom Barrasso. Now, I don't know if people agree with that or don't, but I don't even know if people agree with that or do. But if we had Barrasso now, we would not be in the position we are with the players we have. Because his tactics were not good enough. His tactics were good enough to get us the playoffs last season. But I don't think we'd have been finishing more than 6th this season if we kept Barrasso. Now, we have a lot to thank him for. Simply because he got us to the playoffs. He got that sort of belief back in Sheffield, sort of, you know, we can do things if we put his mind to it. Had we kept Thompson last season, I don't think we'd have been in the playoffs, personally. I think he just got his recruiting completely wrong. I don't know if he was sacked or he left. I'm not quite sure. But, yeah. Anyway, I went off track again. So, the team we have here in Sheffield this season, right? As I mentioned earlier in the video, Brendan Connolly, right? He used to take penalties, he didn't score many points, he always got in the face of the referee, and he was just a general bit of a douche, really. But now you have to look at him and think, he's got a 21-point streak, something like that. He barely takes penalties. He does still get in the face of the official, but that is right for this league. I mean, if there's not really any consistency with the calls or anything like that. So, the next bit of the video is the team we have here in Sheffield, right? Where I think we'll finish, basically, this season. So, it's quite a tough one. At the start of the season, I said we'd finish first. I kept putting on the HMS stuff about, you know, walking the league and all that. But do I still think it'll happen? Yeah, I do still think we'll win the league. Now, I'll have to explain this on here because every time I tweet about it, you only get 180 characters, or 280, and people enjoy sort of coming on, oh, not a chance, you're stupid, arrogant sort of thing. Now, here's why I think we'll win the league. At the minute, we're 5 points ahead, but the Cardiff Devils have 4 games in hand. In those 4 games, they are playing opposition who could basically put them to the test. We have to play the Devils, I think it's either twice or 3 times now, between now and the end of the season. 3 games against them, you'd be surprised what I think. I genuinely think we'd beat them all 3 times. Because the Devils, as daft as it sounds, aren't as good this year. Now, compared with last season, they finished second, obviously, because they weren't good enough to finish in first. I hope Devils fans don't watch these, because I just end up slating other teams, because obviously I want the Steelers to finish top. That is the main thing for me. I just want to be top of the league. Top of the league is a better achievement than winning the playoffs and the Challenge Cup. And don't even come at me on that, because finishing top of the league means you just got dominance over everyone. Whereas the Challenge Cup, you know, it's a decent competition. It's quite nice to sort of refreshing, sort of when you can sort of play the youngsters. I'm pretty sure that's where most of the younger ones sort of play their games. I mean, I went to watch Manchester in Manchester the other day, and I think it was either Alex Graham or Jordan Griffin. I think it was Jordan Griffin who was on the ice quite a lot. So to watch him play was actually really nice. I mean, basically got frozen out last season. So did all the youngsters. I mean, youth development isn't really a priority with the Steelers. I think it was more of a priority with Paul Thompson. So, as I was saying, I think the Steelers will finish first. I want to win the Challenge Cup. I mean, I really want to win the Challenge Cup. The playoffs, I don't think we'd win there. I think if we won the Challenge Cup and not the league or the playoffs, I'd take it. And that's simply because we've won something, and the Challenge Cup hasn't been something that we've won recently. In fact, I can't really remember the last time we won the Challenge Cup because I've only seen us get to the final once. I think it is, and we lost. I think it was 2 or 3-1 on the day, or 3-2, and it was just a bit dull. One of the dullest finals, I think people said. So, to round it off, I think the Steelers will finish first. I think we'll win the Challenge Cup, not the playoffs or the conference. I don't even know if there's a conference anymore. I don't know is there conferences anymore. If people could tell me these sort of things, I'd love it. But I don't know if there even is a conference anymore. If there's not, there's not. But yeah, I don't think we'll win the playoffs at all. I think we've got a chance in the Challenge Cup in the league. So yeah, it's been a bit dodgy this. I'm not used to the vidcast because I haven't done one since October. But it is quite nice to be sat down in front of the camera again. So thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like, because obviously I want to try and build the channel as much as possible. I mean, I'll just briefly talk about this. The Round the Rink series that I want to try and set up, you know, football refereeing and my student loan should cover a little bit of it, but I'm not going to be able to go far just yet. I want to go to a Steel Dogs game. I want to sort of show you a Steelers game. Steel Dogs is definitely a priority because it is kind of somewhere that it's like 20 minutes away from me, so I can just drive up there, watch the game, sort of give my opinion on it. And definitely next time I'll sort the audio out. I'll probably film it with sort of these in my ear rather than the Turtle Beach that I filmed the other video in, which is really annoying because obviously I got quite a lot of footage and I got Michael Davis's goal. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed, and I can see you in the next one. See you later, guys.